Hello, buddy. Welcome back to Tin Man Score Channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and today I'm kicking off my new Nighttime Spooks Marathon for you guys. And the first video I'm reacting to is 4 True Creepy Neighbor Horror Stories. So without further ado, I'm going to turn these lights off, move the camera up here for you guys, and let's get this reaction on the road in the back, shall we? Okay, here we go.
A couple of years ago, I moved into a duplex. I had just graduated from college and got my first job. It was a pretty decent neighborhood, and I was looking forward to starting a new chapter of my life.
Okay.
After I moved in, I met my next door neighbor who lived on the other side of the duplex. He was a man named Rob and appeared to be in his 40s. He said he had been living there for 10 years, and he seemed like a pretty nice guy. He even helped me move a couple of my bigger furniture pieces into my house. The first couple of weeks went by really well. I liked my job a lot, and I was enjoying the house as well.
Hey, so far so good. If you move into a new house for the first time and you have neighbors that are willing to help you move in some big furniture items, that's good because you not only have good neighbors, but you want to make friends with them. I mean, that's what I would do, but you never know when you might meet a neighbor that has bad intentions. So I'm going to quit rambling right here and continue with the story to see what happens next.
One day, however, after work, I got a painting to hang up on my wall. There was a random screw in the wall of my bedroom, and I wanted to cover it up. The screw was pretty hard to see, but I still wanted to cover it up because I'm a perfectionist. When I got home, I went into my bedroom and positioned it against the wall to see what it would look like. But when I did, I got a closer look at the screw. I hadn't seen this before, but when I looked closer, it was actually a peephole. I looked through the peephole. I could barely see it, but I saw an eyeball looking back at me. I jumped back. The other side of my wall was my neighbor Rob. I ran and found some tape and quickly covered up the hole. Then I heard a knock at my door. I looked out my window to see Rob. I didn't want to answer it. I was way too creeped out.
Oh man, I knew it was too good to be true. He acts all nice and helps you out, but then you realize that your next door neighbor put a daggum peephole in the wall just so he can spy on any of his new neighbors. Oh, that just sends chills down my spine. Because you never know if he saw you while you were watching TV or running around the house half naked. Man, I will be calling the police to show them the peephole that was in the house and see if they can arrest him for spying on this person. I don't know what's going to happen next, so let's just continue and see, shall we?
Then he tried opening the door. After a couple tries, he went back inside. I immediately called the owner of the property and told them the situation. They allowed me to get out of my lease and move out, which I did the very next day. I didn't see Rob the next day, and his car was gone. I'm glad, because I never want to see him again.
I'm glad you were able to talk to the landlord and get out of your lease quick. But man, he needs to not only call the police on that dude, Rob, for spying on other tenants and get him kicked out of that apartment. Because if I was his landlord, I wouldn't be tolerating that at all. You got to respect other tenants' privacy, and if they say that this guy was acting like a peeping Tom, then I'll either tell him I'm calling the police to get you out of here or you're being evicted. But thank God he's gone because I know that person don't want to run into him no more. Just hope and pray that whatever place they rent out next don't have no peeping Tom neighbor either. But anyway, let's get to story number 2, shall we?
Last year, we had a new neighbor move in next door. From the very first day he moved in, he gave me the creeps. He was in his 50s and looked kind of sloppy. He had a beard, gray hair, and wore baggy clothes. He just seemed a little odd and wasn't very friendly. My parents and I talked to him the day he moved in, and he just seemed like he was in a bad mood. The first couple of months he lived there, I didn't see him go outside at all. Somebody would come over and mow his lawn for him every week. I never even saw him getting the mail. I would occasionally just see his car leaving the house or arriving. One night, I was up late playing video games in the living room. I thought I heard something outside our window. I looked out the window to see the bushes moving and the back of someone walking away.
Okay, first of all, you have a neighbor that moves in to the house next door of yours, and they don't even say hello, I'm your new neighbor, and they're just in a grumpy mood and don't even mow their own lawn. It just seems like they're just stubborn and want to be to themselves. They don't want to be making any friends in the neighborhood. And if he says he saw him moving in the bushes right next to their properties, I'm thinking he's just spying, which that would be creepy times 100, that right there. But let's just see if it is him.
I stood there just staring at the man. As he walked away, I could see it was our next door neighbor. I don't think he saw me because he never turned around. I moved to the other window to get a better look, and I could see that it was clearly our next door neighbor. He just walked back into his yard. I told my dad about it, and he went outside to see. My dad came back about 10 minutes later. He said he asked our neighbor if he'd been in our yard, but he denied it and got mad that my dad accused him of it. I know 100% that was him. A few days later, when I was taking the garbage down to the street, I saw the man in his window just staring at me. He had a mad look on his face, and he didn't take his eyes off me the whole time. I don't know what this guy's problem is, but I don't feel comfortable living next to him.
The way you're describing him, I wouldn't feel comfortable living next door to him either. But he knows that you told on him, so now he's mad at you. And the fact that he denied it in front of his dad not only proves that he was lying, but he's really senile and messed up in the head, that's for sure. Man, when you get old enough, I'll be packing up and moving to another house to get away from that old guy because it seems like he do not want to you.
A few weeks ago, I went to drop my friend off at his house. I pulled over to the side of the road to let him out. His neighborhood was pretty quiet because it was about midnight. Right as my friend was about to get out of my car, we noticed a car that was parked on the side of the road go into the neighbor's yard and then into their backyard. We found this really odd, and my friend stayed in my car to see what would happen. We then saw lights turn on behind the house, and then a shadow on the house next to it appeared. We could see the shadow of the man, and it started making movements. After trying to figure out what he was doing, we decided that it looked like he was digging a hole in his yard. This was a pretty odd activity for midnight, and my friend and I were suddenly very interested into what was going on.
Oh man, he's digging a hole in the backyard. He's probably burying a body. You just don't know. But that's my guess. So I would be quietly calling 911 to let them know that he's digging a hole in the backyard. In the body, they'll go over there and investigate.
After about 10 minutes, the activity stopped, and we saw somebody walk to the driveway and into a car, and then back inside. I couldn't make out what they looked like because it was so dark out. After about 5 minutes, somebody came to the end of the driveway and looked directly at us and then walked back inside. We were very confused by this whole situation. About another 10 minutes went by, and somebody then came to the end of the driveway again and started staring at us. Then they started walking towards us. I put the car in reverse, backed up, turned around, and drove out of there to my house. My friend slept at my place that night. The creepy part about this is the next day when we went back, their house was completely vacant, and my friend hasn't seen anyone there since.
Really suspicious, don't you think? If the neighbor saw you at the driveway in the car. He figured that he needed to get out of there quick before they discovered what he was doing. Because that's kind of strange that when you get back, his house is vacant. But I would still get police to go over there and check that hole that he was digging, because I guarantee you he was probably burying a body and he was trying to pack up and leave before cops arrested him. But that would be scary to bear witness to, and you couldn't even do nothing to stop him. So they did the right thing and skedaddled while they could before they were disposed of as well.
I moved into a new house to live in this year because I was relocated for my job. The first couple of weeks were fine, but recently I had some things go missing inside my house. And weird things too, like food items or some of my clothes. It's been very confusing to me. Until a couple of days ago when I was pulling into my driveway from work and I saw the guy that lives next door in my backyard. When I pulled in, he walked back into his yard and didn't look at me. Sure, he could have been just retrieving something that blew into his yard or whatever, but I just can't help but think they might be related. I know he was good friends with the previous owner of my house, so I feel like maybe he has a spare key or something. Then, last night when I was sleeping, I heard my front door open. I went to the edge of my door and looked to see if it was my next door neighbor. Sure enough, it was. I went out to confront him, but when I did, he turned and ran. I went to his house and knocked on the door. There was no answer. I went back in and called the police. When they arrived, I told them what had happened, but they couldn't find my neighbor anywhere. He disappeared, and I haven't seen him since. He didn't take his car because I didn't see him drive away. Nobody knows where he is.
You know, that's probably a good possibility. That neighbor would have had a spare key to get into the yard of his former neighbor's house, but then I thought when he would gave it back to him, he was moving out of that house, so he wouldn't bother the new neighbor. But then that's kind of strange when the new neighbor pulls up in his yard, he just took off into his yard. And when he tried to confront him, he just ran back in the house and didn't answer him. But then when he calls the cops and the cops go check on him to see what was wrong, he ain't there. So he might have just packed up when he needed it and took off. Messed up in the head really bad. Will we ever know? I don't know. Since the cops couldn't find him. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more nighttime spooks content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man's Quarter channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and I said that's a wrap, and have a nice day.